Previously on Chicken Philosophy.
Martin Luther. No, I'm serious. Edward wants to read Martin Luther. I don't want to read Martin Luther, and BT is neutral. Right now, you're the tiebreaker.
I suppose I'm in favor of anybody who goes against the prevailing social order and class system of the time.
Did you just compare Martin Luther to the Buddha? So Pymander broke the tie. Without further ado,
It pains me to see you suffer like this. I would like to read Martin Luther in your place.
that would be really cool.
Of course.
Welcome back. This is Chicken Philosophy. Martin Luther, Part 6. And according to the wheel you just saw, I'm your host, Gwydion. I mean, that is who I am, but the host for today, according to the wheel you saw, is me. But you might notice that I'm smiling. And you might know why. Because Pymander, where the hell is he? There's no way I'm reading this. I am not. Pymander, remember you said that when it was my turn to read Martin Luther, you'd read for me because it's your fault. Then what the hell? You can't be serious. This is kind of offensive on behalf of all Tibetans and myself. I find this... I'm not reading Martin Luther. How the hell... Hello, Gwydion. Are you mean to tell me that I had to invoke you using the chant to Padmasambhava? Are you implying that you're Padmasambhava now, or what?
No. I'm not in any way implying that I am Padmasambhava. However, I recently recorded part 13 of the Padmasambhava recitals on Buddhist Books podcast. And ever since then, I've just been buzzing on this other level. And that, I'm afraid, is what caused me to be invisible to your eyes. So the mantra wasn't in any way to invoke me. It really had nothing to do with me. It had to do with you. It was necessary to break up the patterns of your own natural thinking with these particular words long enough for you to be able to tune in to the vibration where I am, so then you could see me. Okay, whatever you say, as long as you don't mind. Of course. No, I'm going to honor my word. I said I'd read when it came to be your turn, and so I will. All right. Enjoy the reading, Pymander. Thank you, Gwydion.
Okay. Picking up right where somebody left off last time. This sort of wisdom is not a bad thing, and we should not flee from the law. That said, human beings, apart from the theology of the cross, misuse the best in the worst way. Romans 7:12 and 1 Timothy 4:4. The law is holy. All the gifts of God are equally good, and every created thing is very good. But, as we said above, those who have not been brought low and reduced to nothing through the cross and suffering take credit for works and wisdom and do not acknowledge God. Such folks misuse and disgrace the gifts of God. However, those who have been crushed by suffering know that they do not handle it on their own, but that God accomplishes everything in them. Because of this, they view their works, parentheses, or lack of good works, end parentheses, from the same perspective. They do not brag if they do good works. They are not upset if God does not do good works through them. They understand that it is enough to suffer and be crushed by the cross, so that they might be annihilated all the more. Christ says this in John 3:7, quote, "You must be born from above," end quote. To be born anew, one must first die and then be raised up with Christ. Indeed, to die means to accept the presence of death. We do not obtain the righteousness of God through oft-repeated actions, parentheses, as Aristotle taught, end parentheses, but by faith. Because, quote, "the one who through faith is righteous shall live," end quote, and, quote, "a person believes with the heart and so is justified," end quote. Therefore, I wish to have the words, quote, "apart from work," end quote, understood in the following manner. It is not that righteous folks do nothing. It is just that their works do not make them righteous. In fact, their righteousness produces works. Because grace and faith are given without our works, after they have been bestowed, works follow. Romans 3:20 states it in this way, quote, "No human being will be justified in God's sight by works of the law," end quote, and, quote, "For we hold that a person is justified by faith apart from the works of law," end quote. Put another way, works contribute nothing to one's justification before God. Therefore, a person knows that works done by faith are not one's own, but God's. Because of this, one does not seek to become justified or glorified through works, but seeks God. One's justification by faith in Christ is sufficient. Christ is such a person's wisdom, righteousness, etc., so that we may be both Christ's works and tools. The law says, "Do this," in quotes, and is never done. It is never done. Grace says, quote, "Believe in this," end quote, and everything is already done. The first statement is evident in many places throughout the works of the Apostle Paul and his interpreter, St. Augustine. Is that who St. Augustine is? Okay. And it has been stated often enough above that the law works wrath and keeps all humans under the curse. The second part is clear from the same sources because faith justifies. As St. Augustine writes, quote, "The law orders what faith obtains," end quote, "because through faith Christ is in us, indeed one with us. Christ is righteous and has fulfilled every command of God. Therefore, we also fulfill everything through the Lord, because through faith Christ has become ours." Christ's work is accurately called, quote, "a primary work," end quote, and our work, quote, "a secondary work," end quote. That is, this secondary work pleases God because of the grace of the primary work. Because Christ lives in us through faith, the Lord motivates us to do good works through faith in that primary work. Indeed, the works of Christ fulfill the commandments of God given to us through faith. When we look at such works, we are moved to do likewise. For this reason, the Apostle Paul says, quote, "Therefore be imitators of God as beloved children," end quote. Deeds of mercy are aroused by the works through which Christ has saved us, as St. Gregory says, quote, "Every deed of Christ instructs and motivates us," end quote. If Christ's action is in us, then it lives in us through faith, because according to the verse, it is extremely attractive. quote, draw me after you, let us make haste, end quote, toward the fragrance, quote, of your anointing oils, end quote, that is, quote, your works, end quote. God's love does not discover but creates that which pleases it. I was gonna make reference to like AI girlfriends, but I decided to just let it pass. And then I thought better of it and mentioned it. Anyway, human love comes about by the object that pleases it. The second part is clear, and all philosophers and theologians accept it. The object of love is its own cause. This assumes, with Aristotle, that all power of the soul is passive and material, able to act not only in a receptive way. Further, this shows how Aristotle's philosophy contradicts theology, how it continually seeks what is its own, and how it receives rather than gives good things. Don't forget to give good things, not just receive it. You'll thank me later. Okay, the first part is clear because God's love, which lives in human beings, loves sinful, evil, foolish, and weak people, so that it might make us righteous, good, wise, and strong. Rather than seek its own good, the love of God moves outward and gives good. Sinners, therefore, are attractive because they are loved. They are not loved because they are attractive. I mean, some of them are. Just because you're a sinner doesn't mean you're not loved because you're attractive, right? I mean, these two things are mutually exclusive. They might even be related. Anyway, human love would avoid sinners and evil persons. Yeah. Christ, however, says, quote, I did not come to call the righteous, but the sinners. Yes. End quote. Such is the love of the cross. Born from the cross, this love does not move toward goodness so that it might enjoy what's already there. Rather, it moves toward wicked and needy persons in order to give goodness to them. The Apostle Paul says, quote, it is more blessed to give than to receive. End quote. And for this reason, Psalm 41:1 says, quote, happy are those who consider the needy and the poor, end quote. By our natural intellect, we are not able to conceive of something that does not yet exist, such as the potential in poor and needy folk. We can only see things that do exist, such as the true and good. Therefore, the intellect evaluates appearances, is a respecter of persons, and judges according to that which can be seen, etc. He ended his speech, he ended his dissertation to the Wittenberg, or whatever this was, the Heidelberg disputation, right? Okay. So he was at the Triennial Assembly where people were, the German Augustinians in Heidelberg were there for their Triennial Assembly, and Martin Luther came up. First thing he's going to be heard saying after the 95 Theses that launched him into fame. And he ends his speech with an etc. Maybe it's different in German. And that's the end of that speech. And we still have some time. Hey, Gwydion. I'm awake. What happened? It's okay. You're under no obligation to stay awake through Martin Luther. But I was wondering, would you be interested in perhaps, you remember last time you read some Dogen, would you be interested in reading some Bodhisattva vows?
Yeah, sure. All right, let's see what's in here. The Bodhisattva vows. Wishing Bodhisattva. The commitments of having taken the vows to develop wishing bodhicitta, are divided into two sections. 1.
how to guard the vows from degenerating in this life. 2. How to maintain and enhance your practice in future lives. 1. How to guard the vows from degenerating in this life. A. To develop inspiration, contemplate the advantages of bodhicitta. 1. It is the only door to the Mahayana path. 2. You will be called an child one of the Buddhas. I'm going to assume that was a typo. A child of the Buddhas. It's child 1, all one word. The 1, like sonnet 1, is at the end of child. 3. You will surpass in brilliance even the Hinayana Arhats. 4. You will become an object of highest respect and offering. 5. You will easily complete the extensive collections of merit. 6. The obstructions of your negative karmic impressions will quickly be purified. 7. You will be successful in whatever you attempt, and you will be without need. 8. You will not be overcome by either harm or interference. 9. You will be an inexhaustible source of comfort and happiness for sentient beings. 10. You will quickly attain all realizations of the path to enlightenment. B. To strengthen one's bodhicitta, contemplate it and recite the prayer 3 times a day and 3 times at night. It is very heavy negative karma to give up bodhicitta because you promised to lead all sentient beings to enlightenment. It is heavy negative karma to break your promise and to abandon bodhicitta. You should never be disheartened, even if it seems that it will take such a long time to receive enlightenment. Instead of becoming dismayed, contemplate the benefits and advantages and revive your vows by saying the prayer of wishing bodhicitta. O Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Gurus, please listen to what I now have to say from the depths of my heart. Just as all the Buddhas of the past have developed the thought of enlightenment, true bodhicitta, then practiced its stages of graded development by following the trainings for all Buddha's children one, so may I, too, for the sake of all beings, develop bodhicitta and follow the trainings exactly as all bodhisattvas have done. C. Do not give up bodhicitta because of the mischievous deeds of sentient beings. This happens when you think that you will not work for the welfare of a particular sentient being who has harmed you. D. Work to accumulate the 2 collections of merit and wisdom. In the beginning, you can acquire extensive merit by making offerings to the poor and to the 3 jewels, and widom, W-I-D-O-M, by contemplating emptiness. I think they meant wisdom. Let's assume. This will help to strengthen your bodhicitta. 2, big 2. How to maintain and enhance your practice in future lives. A. Abandon the 4 negative dharmas. 1. Knowingly confusing one's abbot, guru, or other holy beings with lies, such as changing the subject when your guru asks you to do something, or not telling your guru of your negative actions because you are afraid of his scolding you. I've got that one covered. I don't have a guru. 2. Small 2, under the A, which is under the big 2. 2A2. Discouraging others from practicing virtuous actions or causing them to regret virtue that they have created, such as saying, quote, "It is good, but it will be difficult for you to maintain that practice," end quote. When someone is practicing renunciation, you cause them to doubt their virtuous practice. Even if they do not regret their virtuous action, your encouragement to do so is a negative dharma. 3. Abusing a bodhisattva out of anger. Even if a bodhisattva is at fault, if your abusive words are heard by others, you create this negative dharma. Okay? I would say abusive words are out. constructive criticism or like warning them that he's like too touchy-feely with like children. I'm going to go ahead and reserve my right to say shit aloud on the internet. Oh, and I don't have a guru, so I don't have to worry about this one. Okay. 4, putting on an air of having selfless thought and having ulterior motives other than the pure wish to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, such as pretending to be a scholar or concealing your shortcomings. All right. B, so this is big 2B. Practice the 4 positive dharmas that oppose the 4 negative ones. A, abandon deliberately lying to any sentient being, whether for the sake of humor or even at the cost of your life. 2, do not discriminate amongst sentient beings, parentheses, this opposes the 4th negative dharma, end parentheses. 3, abandon criticizing bodhisattvas. Since you do not know who is a bodhisattva and who's not, it is best to treat all sentient beings as bodhisattvas and Buddhas. Don't criticize anybody. No abusive speech toward anybody. I'll keep reading. 4, take upon yourself the responsibility to establish all sentient beings in the Mahayana path by encouraging their enthusiasm for the Mahayana path. Even if you are not successful, you must always try to do this. Rejoicing in the virtues of others instead of being jealous of their wish to attain enlightenment. Cultivating love and compassion in all your actions. This opposes the 2nd negative dharma. The result of practicing these wholesome dharmas and avoiding the negative dharmas is never to be separated from bodhicitta. Engaging bodhicitta. That's how you do it, right? Let's see. The commitments of having taken the vows to develop engaging bodhicitta are divided into 2 sections. 1, 18 root vows. 2, 46 branch vows. 1. The 18 root vows. You must abandon 1. Praising yourself or belittling others out of attachment to receiving offerings or admiration. Oh, I can do that. That's totally not why I praise myself or belittle others. 2. Even though you are able, not giving material aid to others through miserliness or not teaching dharma to those who are suffering and without protector because you want to amass knowledge just for yourself. This channel, for which, by the way, I make no money, I think is proof that I'm not trying to amass knowledge for myself. 3, not forgiving others, but harboring a grudge and holding it even when they apologize. I think blocking somebody who insists on like talking about, oh yeah, I remember back when you were 11 and I was in bed with your mother, like because they annoy you and trigger like high BP first thing in the morning is a little different. I forgive you if there's anything to forgive if you're watching, which I know you're subscribed to the channel and I have it set so you can't comment. I hope you don't mind. Anyway, I'm not talking about the fucking cult leader. I'm talking about someone else. Okay. Cult leader light. My training cult leader from when I was 12. 4. Abandoning... I'm joking. It's a joke. Abandoning the... Oh, by the way, I was listening to that fucking... that Paul Simon album. Running with the Buffaloes? No. Wishing Upon a Star? You know the one. Anyway, recently. 4, abandoning the Mahayana teachings by saying that some parts of the teachings are not teachings of the Buddha and propounding your own fabricated and perverted doctrine. So don't go around saying that those 10 points to the nuns about how to be subservient to the monks didn't come out of the mouth of the Buddha, because it did. And we just have to find a way to reconcile that within, even if it means admitting that he was a flawed human being according to 2024 woke standards, right? 5, taking back offerings to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, or taking them by robbery or devious schemes, using for your own purpose material dedicated to the Sangha. Well, I've got a Sangha of 1 personally, so I think that I'm okay from that one. 6, abandoning or despising the holy Dharma by criticizing the scriptures or practices of any of the 3 vehicles of the Shravakas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, or the Bodhisattvas. I'm in the clear. I only criticized the Lotus Sutra, which is none of these. At the root of Mahayana. Never mind. Actually, Pymander did, but I remember it. If you have an inclination, like the Claras, for those who've read my books. If you have an inclination for Tantra, what do you mean? Criticizing the Paramitayana, if you are inclined towards the Mahayana, criticizing the Hinayana, and vice versa. Okay, all right. Okay, I hear you. By calling it Hinayana, you're kind of criticizing it, but I'll let it slide. Okay, you should not criticize the difference in various teachings because Buddha taught with skillful means, in various ways, to guide disciples with different dispositions. This criticism is heavier than destroying all the stupas on earth. I think that's hyperbole. 7, harming an ordained person, inflicting violence on them, stealing their robes, or causing them to lose their vows. 8, committing any of the 5 heinous actions, parentheses, to kill your mother, your father, or an arhat, or to cause disunity amongst the Sangha, to wound a Buddha, end parentheses. 9, cultivating and holding wrong views such as sectarianism, denying the existence of the 3 jewels, or denying the existence of the law of cause and effect. If someone says, and I'm not personally affiliated with any sect, but if somebody says, "Hey, what kind of Buddhism do you practice?" and you say, "Oh, Sakya," is that engaging in sectarianism? Or do you have to say, "I think Sakya is better than Gelugpa," or whatever? Well, anyway. This doesn't really apply to me because I'm not engaged in any sectarianism. 10, destroying any town or country, such as by fire, bombs, pollution, black magic, and so forth. I think I'm in the clear. This includes destroying any place that is inhabited by others, such as houses. 11, teaching voidness to those who are untrained or not ready to understand it. This could be harmful due to causing fear and causing one to abandon bodhicitta, thus falling to the level of Hinayana. Okay, dude who wrote this, you're just breaking number 10 in number 11 or number 9. Falling to the level of Hinayana. Okay. 12. Turning someone away from working to attain enlightenment and encouraging him to work merely for his own liberation. For example, if someone is training in bodhicitta, saying to that person, quote, "If you practice this, you will never attain enlightenment. Would it not be better to train in Hinayana? At least you will be free from samsara." End quote. You're straw-manning it, but I could totally see myself saying that. No, I would point out that I personally am focusing on Theravada, not your slur. Anyway, but that I don't begrudge others their choice to jump to Maha or Vajra. Anyway, okay, all right. This is all so far so good. 13, encouraging others to abandon their pratimoksha vows. Considering Theravada is the foundation of Mahayana, though, I might encourage somebody who's focusing on other aspects that are solely Mahayana, like Lotus Sutra or some chant or whatever. I might suggest they take a look at the Tipitaka, which isn't. That's like telling a Christian to check out Elijah. It's not like taking them away from Christianity. It's in the same book. Similarly, the Theravadan teachings are part of Mahayana, so it's not an instead, unless you're an idiot. And you might be an idiot, so it's okay. All right. You have the right to be an idiot. I don't begrudge you your choice to be an idiot. Where was I? Doodly-doo. Yes, encouraging others to abandon their pratimoksha vows. Hey, Pymander, what are pratimoksha vows?
Honestly, I don't know. I haven't gotten to it yet. I think it's a Vajrayana thing, maybe a Mahayana thing.
All right. So if it comes up, I'll try not to tell people to abandon their... Unless they're stupid. They might be really stupid. Anyway, for example, if someone is abiding by his vows, saying, quote, "What is the use of that? Would it not be better to train in bodhicitta, whereby your non-virtues of body, speech, and mind will automatically subside?" End quote. Yeah, I would never say that, so I'm in the clear. If that person abandons his or her pratimoksha vows, you have created a transgression. Saying that the pratimoksha vows are not necessarily for Mahayana practice is wrong. They are the best working basis for Tantra. 14. Causing others to hold the incorrect views that you might hold regarding the Hinayana teachings, such as saying that by practicing the Hinayana, one can never give up attachment or be released from suffering and delusions. If the other person believes you, it is a transgression. So it's saying don't tell a Hinayana person or Theravadan not to be Theravadan, because that's just as bad as telling a Vajrayana not to be Vajrayana or something. 15. Claiming false realizations of voidness. Although you have not understood emptiness, teaching others, quote, "If you meditate on this, you will be like me and you will understand emptiness directly." This cheats others through pretension. Yeah. If the other person believes you have realized emptiness, it is a transgression. 16. Accepting as gifts material you know has been stolen or embezzled from the 3 jewels or from a bhiksu. 17. Taking material from someone who is meditating on calm, abiding, and giving it to someone who merely recites texts. Such an action may cause the meditator to abandon his or her practice. 18. Abandoning bodhicitta by thinking, quote, "I cannot help sentient beings," end quote. Or, quote, "I do not want to help this particular sentient being." All right. How much should I read?
As much as you want, just a little bit more.
All right. The 4 conditions. Except for vows 9 and 18, 4 conditions are required to completely transgress the major vows, in which case you will need to take the vows again in order to restore them. 1. You fail to regard the action as wrong, or you know that you are breaking a vow, but you do not care. Because you lack faith in karma, you think that doing a negative action, parentheses, or breaking a vow, end parentheses, does not matter. Due to ignorance, you may not think that the action is negative, and so on. You act contrary to the vow. Recognizing that the action is a negative makes the transgression incomplete. 2. Not abandoning the thought to do the action again. If you do not regret the action and generate the wish to avoid it in the future, or if you have the wish to do the action again, then this contributes to a complete transgression. If you wish to never commit such an action ever again, then the transgression is incomplete. 3. Rejoicing or admiring yourself for having done the action. For example, if you break the first vow and then think, quote, "How good it was that I could show off my good qualities," end quote. If you feel upset or regret the action, the transgression is incomplete. 4. Having no shame or consideration for others. You do not care about the consequences of your action for yourself or for others. You are careless in karma. You do not feel that the action has anything to do with your karma. All right. If vows are broken. If any of the 18 root vows are broken, you lose all of your bodhisattva vows, and therefore should retake them as soon as possible. If the vows are not broken from the root, parentheses, i.e. all 4 factors are not present, but 1, 2, or 3 of them are, end parentheses, your vows, while not lost, have still degenerated. It is important to purify any transgressions through applying the 4 opponent powers, and restoring the full strength of the vows in your mind stream by taking them again. You can retake the bodhisattva vows with a qualified master or by yourself in front of an image of the Buddha. Visualize the image as one with your guru and repeat the prayer for taking the bodhisattva vows 3 times with strong intention or retake or restore them. 2. The 46 branch vows. I like things that are numbered. What can I say? You are to abandon the following actions. Vows 1 through 7 are in connection with the perfection of generosity. 1. Not making offerings every day to the 3 jewels with your body, speech, and mind by making prostrations, offering praises, and meditating on their qualities. 2. Without trying to oppose your greed or dissatisfaction with what you have, following the mind that strives to accumulate more. 3. Not showing respect for your elders, those who have taken the vows before you. You should not think that you are equal to or compete with them. It is better to make offerings to them if you respect masters and elders. It increases your knowledge and brings prosperity to the place. 4. Through hatred or laziness, not answering or giving wrong or distorted answers to sincerely asked questions that you are capable of answering. 5. Not accepting invitations or offerings of food or clothes from others because of either anger, wanting to hurt the other person's feelings, pride, considering yourself too high a rank to be seen with humble people, or jealousy, thinking that others of a higher rank than yourself will look upon you with scorn if you are with humble people. 6. Not accepting gifts of money, gold, and so forth from others, such as a sponsor, because of anger, pride, jealousy, laziness, or harboring a grudge. Not accepting because of compassion, seeing that the person will be short of that item, is not a transgression of this vow. 7. Out of hatred, laziness, jealousy, miserliness, a grudge, or negligence, not giving teachings to someone who is interested and sincerely approaches you for dharma. You should not think of your own hardship in giving teachings. Vows 8 through 16 are in connection with the perfection of morality. 8. Ignoring, belittling, not forgiving, and not helping those who have broken their moral discipline by cultivating the 10 immoralities. Defiling their pratimoksha vows, committing the 5 uninterrupted crimes, or breaking the root bodhisattva vow. Instead of being hateful or disdainful, you should generate compassion. 9. Not instilling faith in those who follow a path that is not your own practice or your main interest. For example, if a follower of the Hinayana desires that kind of teaching, it should be given so that he develops faith in that path. If you refuse to give a requested teaching that you are qualified to teach, it is a transgression. 10. Performing actions which are of lesser benefit to others because of rigidly adhering to the Vinaya. By preoccupying yourself with small activities, you may miss an opportunity to help sentient beings. If you have an opportunity to immaculately benefit others, you transgress this vow by rigidly adhering to the Vinaya and the 7 virtues of body and speech, even though it hinders your opportunity to help. 11. Not committing one of the 7 non-virtues of body and speech to benefit others out of compassion. If circumstances deem it necessary, a bodhisattva is allowed to commit one of these non-virtues and must do so. However, you must be very careful. Without having actualized bodhicitta, it is difficult to transform into virtue the 7 non-virtues of body and speech. 12. accepting material that has been gained by yourself or others through one of the 5 wrong livelihoods. Lattery, praising others to gain something for yourself. Hinting, such as saying, quote, the gift that you gave before was so nice, end quote, thereby implying that you want more. Bribery, giving a small thing to receive a larger one. Extortion or blackmail, pressuring somebody so that he has no choice. Hypocrisy, changing your usual actions to make a good impression so that others will give you something. 13. Having your main interest be in idle gossip or frivolous activities such as dancing, playing sports, listening to the radio, drinking, or involving others in frivolous talk, all of these cause your mind to wander and you waste time that could be used to practice Dharma. 14. Wrongly thinking that as bodhisattvas remain in samsara for 3 countless great eons, and are not afraid of delusions, it is not necessary to try to abandon delusions and to achieve nirvana. This is incorrect thinking. Bodhisattvas come to this world to benefit sentient beings, but they have an even greater renunciation of samsara and wish for nirvana than Hinayana practitioners do. Mine's bigger than yours. Yes, Mahayana. Yes, they're there. Sorry. Don't mean to be condescending. Actually, no, I did mean to be condescending just then, but not out of any of those malice or jealousy or anything like that. Where was I? However, through their great compassion, they will happily take birth in the narakas if this would benefit just one sentient being. It is mistaken to not cultivate the opponents to the delusions and try to achieve nirvana, and also a mistake to dissuade others from trying to attain nirvana because of the above wrong view. 15. Not trying to avoid a bad reputation or not abandoning the bad habits of body and speech that are the cause of your bad reputation. In order to be more effective at helping others, you need to abandon notoriety. You must try to stop a bad reputation when it is deserved or whether it is deserved or not, so that you can benefit others. Any other motivation is part of the 8 worldly dharmas. That was what one thing St. Francis said about the Catholic Church, is even if it is corrupt, people should be fooled and told that it's not. People have to have this idealized image of the Holy Catholic Church. So whatever scummy stuff you're doing, stop, but definitely cover it up. Thank you, St. Francis, for your words of wisdom. 16. Not correcting the deluded actions of others when you are capable of doing so, that is, not pointing out somebody's negative habits of body or speech when wrathfulness would be beneficial, not punishing a non-virtuous person to correct him because you think it would hurt his feelings or because of fear of his anger. Vows 17 to 20 are in connection with the perfection of patience. 17. Becoming angry and retaliating with your body, speech, or mind when you are insulted or blamed, beaten, the object of somebody's anger, or when your shortcomings are exposed to others. 18. Rejecting someone who is angry with you through harmful intent, anger, or just laziness, ignoring the angry person and not trying to relieve the situation that made him angry by explaining why you acted, pacifying him, or apologizing to him. 19. Refusing to accept the sincere apologies of others out of anger or laziness. This differs from the 3rd root vow because the 4 conditions are not needed to transgress it. 20. Following your anger and trying to abandon it. Feeding your anger by thinking that you acted rightly. Instead, you should contemplate the disadvantages of anger. Vows 20 through 23 are in connection with the perfection of perseverance. 21. Giving teachings, having disciples, building monasteries, or gathering people for the purpose of receiving reputation, profit, remuneration. You should have dharma gatherings with the intention to benefit others and make them receive enlightenment. 22. Not eliminating laziness, procrastination, delusions of incapability, and sleep, parentheses, during the day or during the first and final periods of the night, end parentheses. which are detrimental to your practice, and wasting time and energy on the trivial matters of samsara. You should avoid sleeping late or irregularly. 23. Passing time by frivolously talking about objects of attachment. Vows 24 through 26 are in connection with the perfection of concentration. 24. Not making an effort to study the means of attaining samadhi through requesting teachings. If you desire to meditate, you must approach a qualified teacher for instruction. The transgression is to not do this because of laziness, evil intent, arrogance, or meditating on samadhi without having received proper instruction. I'll take arrogance for 300, Alex. 25. Not trying to eliminate the obstacles that hinder your attainment of samadhi. The 5 obstacles in particular are attachment to the desire realm and the 5 sense objects, harmful intent, sleep and foggy mindedness, regret and agitation, doubt. 26. Attachment, remember there's like 42 or something. Attachment to the bliss of remaining in samadhi without doing any other virtuous activities, or deliberately concentrating for the sake of this bliss, thinking that samadhi is a special kind of knowledge and thus not having the strong wish to progress further. Vows 27 through 34 are in connection with the perfection of wisdom. 27. Looking down on Hinayana scriptures and saying the study of them is not necessary for Mahayanas. Hear, hear. 28. Studying Hinayana discourses and practices to the extent that it compromises your study and practice of the Mahayana. 29. Making an unnecessary study of non-Buddhist scriptures, thus neglecting to study the Buddha's teachings. Although such study is permitted and is advantageous for understanding and helping others, you should not use excessive time and energy in studying non-Buddhist tenets. 30. Favoring, becoming attached to, or cultivating interest in non-Buddhist teachings, even in cases when you have to study them. You are allowed to study non-Buddhist texts so that you can refute wrong views, like the Jesuit approach, or to better understand those you are trying to help, but instead of doing this, you became attracted to these scriptures. Dirty boy. 31. Casting aspersions on the Mahayana teachings, the author, or the subject, such as saying a scripture is poor in subject matter, composition, or power to help sentient beings, or that the subject is boring. Well, all right. I'll try to do better in the future, but that Lotus Sutra, man. All right, 32. Praising yourself or belittling others out of anger or arrogance. 33. Not attending discourses, debates, discussions, pujas, or ceremonies because of arrogance, laziness, or anger. 34. Not respecting but abusing the guru who gives teachings and shows the path, seeking only his words without contemplation of their meaning. Vows 35 through 46. 46, okay. These are the last bit. In connection with the perfection of morality of helping others. 35. Not helping those in need of help when you have the capacity to do so. 8 types of sentient beings in need of help are specified. Not helping someone doing purposeful work who asks for help. You make excuses or are lazy. Not helping someone on a journey who needs help carrying things or needs protection due to laziness. Not teaching language and dharma if asked. Not doing work which may not be dharma but which concerns dharma if asked. Not helping protect another person's possessions if you have the time and ability if asked. Not unifying a couple if asked. Unless you're looking at the, as you call it, Hinayana scriptures, in which case it's forbidden if you're a monk. Uniting couples, what are you doing? Not going to a meal if you have the time and ability if asked. Not going if invited to create merits such as to a puja if you have the time and ability. That was all number 35. Okay, so these last 11 might be a little longer if they put giant lists in single ones. 36, not helping sick persons with materials or service because of hatred or laziness. 37, not working to alleviate suffering, but instead avoiding to help eliminate it through anger, laziness, or negligence. This refers to people such as the blind, deaf, paralyzed, those with missing limbs, those with difficulty breathing, travelers on a difficult journey, people having the 5 obstacles, those in mental stress, those who are paranoid, those who have lost authority or position or have been abused by others. 38, through anger or laziness, not exhorting, correcting, or activating a lazy person or a person who is not known virtuous, who does not know virtuous from non-virtuous actions. If you see a person engaging in frivolous activities, you should give timely advice in appropriate situations and under proper circumstances so that the person can avoid those actions and engage in virtue. 39. Through anger or laziness, not repaying the kindness of someone who has helped you material or morally. 40, through harmful intent or laziness, not consoling those who are grieving because of separation from their dear ones or possessions. 41, through harmful intent or laziness, not giving food, clothes, or other necessities to the poor and needy if you are asked and if you have enough to spare. 42, through hatred or laziness, not working for the welfare of your disciples and attendants, or not giving teachings and or materials. 43, failing to get along with others, being self-assertive and not acting in accordance with the wishes or feelings of others. Through lack of consideration, you do not act according to the level of their mind when you are capable of doing so. The actions that practitioners can do according to their level of mind, if you have actualized bodhicitta, it is difficult not to transform negative actions of body and speech into virtue. But if your mind is not capable, you cannot do these actions, even if others request you to do them. However, you can act in small ways to help others according to the level of their minds. By being well-mannered, you please them and encourage them in the Dharma. Transgressions of this vow occur if you are a Dharma practitioner and you lie down in comfort without being concerned about others. Or you may be with worldly people and use bad manners which cause them to become angry or lose their devotion. 44. Not praising those deserving praise, nor rejoicing in others who praise learned and realized beings. 45. Not preventing those doing harmful actions from continuing their actions by whatever means is necessary according to the circumstances. The boastful may need to be looked down upon, the violent punished physically, those harmful to society banished. Out of laziness or attachments to those people, you do not act when you have the authority to do so. Abbots and disciplinarians should punish or reprimand those who are misbehaving. Transgression consists of having the power to do something and not doing it because you do not care about the harmful person himself or about those he is harming, or because you are lazy. And finally, 46, if you possess psychic powers, not using them in a time of need, such as to frighten someone who is about to do a non-virtuous action so that he will stop, to enhance others' faith, or to subdue them. And this is the end, the end of the book. So I'm going to go ahead and read. Verse to restore the Bodhisattva vows. O Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Gurus, please listen to what I say now from the depths of my heart. Just as all the Buddhas of the past have developed the thought of enlightenment, true bodhicitta, then practiced its stages of graded development following the trainings of all Buddha's children, so may I too, for the sake of all beings, develop bodhicitta and follow the trainings exactly as all bodhisattvas have done. Prayer to generate bodhicitta by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, Today, in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world.
Gwydion. Oh my God. Om Ahom Vajra Guru Pema Siddhi Om. Om